Let's get you back into court now, where the state's next witness has just taken the stand. This is an officer who engaged in a high-speed chase and apprehended Tower.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Will you please tell us your full name and spell your last name?
Tyler Ragauckas, R-A-G-A-U-C-K-A-S.
And where are you employed, officer?
The city of Northport with the police department.
How long?
5 years.
Okay. Can you please tell us your duties?
I work patrol, primarily just answering calls for service as they come out.
All right. Do you have prior law enforcement experience?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, I was a police officer in New Jersey for 9 years.
Where in New Jersey?
Lakewood Township.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to take you back to September 1st of 2023. Will you tell the members of the jury how you first became involved in this case?
On that date, I was the primary officer to get sent to the address on Malakote. I was the initial officer to arrive on scene first.
And that home on Malakote, 1240 Malakote Road, is that in the city of Northport in Sarasota County?
Yes.
Did dispatch alert you to a safety issue at that address?
Yes.
Can you please give us a bit of information about that safety issue?
So prior to my arrival, police dispatch let officers know that there was a female that was screaming from the neighboring house. And as that neighbor opened their front door to see what the commotion was, there was a puddle of blood on her front steps.
Right. Once you arrived at Malakote, can you tell us what was the very first thing you saw?
The first thing I saw was a male closing the trunk to a black vehicle. And that male.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. And where was that black car situated with reference to 1240 Malakote Road?
The black car was parked right in the swale directly in front of 1240 Malakote.
Okay. Is there a dashboard camera on your patrol car?
Yes.
Okay. Was it operating on the night of August 31st into the early morning hours of September 1st of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about how that dash cam operates when a law enforcement officer gets in the driver's seat?
That specific vehicle that I was operating that night, once the vehicle's turned on, the camera rolls 24 hours, 7 days a week, as long as the vehicle is on. You can't turn it off or manipulate the camera in any way.
In addition to the dash camera on your police car, were you also wearing a body camera?
Yes.
Was that regulation at the time and continues to be regulation with the city of Northport?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. And was the body camera also turned on?
Yes.
At the time this incident occurred? Okay. Now, when you turned onto Malakote and saw a person near that black car, did you have, well, I guess it's kind of redundant, but you were in a police car. Did it have the typical insignia and all of the authorized patrol vehicle distinctions on the car?
Yes.
Okay. Did it have jurisdictional markings displayed on the car?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about the lighting on that street.
Lighting was sporadic street lights, but fairly dark.
And when you pulled up to this car, did you have your headlights on?
Correct.
Okay. Were you able to see the activity at the back of the car with your headlights?
Yes.
Did you illuminate that person further?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I activated my high beams on my headlights, as well as takedown lights, which are affixed to the light bar. They're bright white LED lights.
All right. Was there anything obstructing your view between you sitting in the driver's seat of your patrol car and this individual that was at the back of the black vehicle?
No.
Okay. Can you tell us what kind of car it was, in addition to it being black?
It was a black Chevy Sonic.
What, if anything, did you observe about the person that you saw to the rear of or at the trunk area of the black Chevy Sonic?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question, please?
Of course. What, if anything, did you observe about that person that was at the back of that black Chevy Sonic?
What I observed was a white male wearing a tank top and shorts, but specifically, he was covered in blood from his head down his arms.
Okay. And did you have any difficulty in viewing the fact that he had blood virtually everywhere on his body?
No.
Okay. Based upon the dispatch information that you told us about it a bit earlier, and your personal observations of the defendant, did you have any concerns about what was in that car or what was in the trunk of that car?
Yes.
What were your concerns, Officer Ragauckas?
So my concerns were the original call was that a female was screaming. At this time, I saw a male only. As he was closing the door, covered in blood, I wasn't sure if he was hiding someone in the trunk or hiding a weapon or something along the lines of covering up a crime.
All right. So as that was going through your mind, what is the very next thing that you did?
I immediately exited my car, unholstered my weapon, and gave the commands to the male that was outside the car. I identified myself as a police officer, and I told him to stop.
Were you wearing a uniform?
Yes.
And how did he react?
The male completely ignored me, entered the driver's side of the Chevy Sonic, and began to accelerate out of the neighborhood.
Okay. When you say accelerate, was he going, just based on your observations, faster than the normal speed on a residential street?
At the initial time, no, but then his speed did progress.
Okay, all right. So did you take further steps after the male got into that black Sonic and just drove away from you, completely ignoring your directions?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do?
I immediately notified other officers and police dispatch of what I observed. At this time, another police officer was entering onto Malakote from the opposite direction. He activated his red and blue lights to effect a motor vehicle stop on the black Sonic, to which the vehicle still failed to yield to police.
Okay, so the person that got in that black car, he just continued down Malakote, even with you behind him and other law enforcement.
Objection, counsel testifying.
Overall, at this time, let's make maybe the question a little shorter.
Yes, sir. Did he completely ignore the other law enforcement that had showed up on the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Who was the person that showed up on the
All right, hitting the pause button right there. You're not going to miss anything. But let's do this. Let's bring in my guest for this hour. Here to discuss in Washington, D.C., friend of the program, law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter. Nice to see you, Sonny. Let's just begin with, today is day one. This is the second witness. What are your initial thoughts on this case?
Good morning, Matt. Always great to see you. Thank you for having me. This case is horrific. This child had when he was a young child, very harsh upbringing. He lost his mother, and then he was placed in foster care in Ukraine. However, he had two people who decided to take a chance on him from another country. They adopted him. He moved to the United States, and apparently he did not integrate well because he committed one of the most heinous crimes any person, and particularly a child that was taken in, could commit against two people that by all accounts were loving, caring, and really wanted him. He stabbed them so many times. He went to grab the mother from off the porch from a neighbor's house to drag her back in, reprimand her, and murder her in such a heinous way. We don't ever want to think that children can be evil, but this is a personification of evil and horror. And we know he did it. He already said he did it. He was covered in their blood. And I just feel so bad for the family and for the entire community that had this individual amongst them all of this time. And he was feeling this way, and he just heinously murdered them. This is outrageous behavior.
Outrageous, it's brutal, and that's how the state there also framed it in their opening statements this morning. But, you know, to your point, the defense kind of came out the gate saying he did it, but take a look at the second-degree murder charge, rather, because what the jury doesn't know is that the defense had tried to make a plea agreement for the second degree to get him 40-year sentence with the possibility of parole, but the state was saying, hey, we're not having that. We want him behind bars for the rest of his life. And it kind of created some emotion in the courtroom today during this opening day, where this defendant was crying and weeping during his defense attorney's opening statement, and then the jury was led out of the courtroom for that moment. Your thoughts on this being an emotional trial and the effects on the jury if more outbursts like that continue to happen with this young defendant?
You know, as a jury consultant, what I'll say is this does not look good. The jury, they are humans. They, I'm sure, have family members if they don't have children themselves. And the impact can then take away from the heinousness of the crime because they begin to feel sorry for him and thinking that he has some type of regret. I'm glad that the judge, I've been watching the trial as we began here on Court TV all morning long. I'm glad the judge stopped the trial, told the defendant to get himself together, because we have to have decorum in the court. Even though this is horrible, we want the jury to stay focused on the evidence and facts and not get involved and immersed in the emotion of it. And although he's crying now, he did not cry at the time of this heinous act. And I think it's really important that the jury not see this type of behavior. I know it's difficult, but he needs to get it together in the same way that he got it together when he decided to commit this murder.
Well, this judge in Florida, the judge, you know, just really handled it beautifully. This case unfolding, it's going to be very emotional, very graphic, but we're going to do this. Sonny, thank you. You're going to stick with us all hour long. We're going to take a break right now. Coming up, the officer continues describing this high-speed chase, including at one point when Tower nearly hits the other officer head on. We'll be right back. This is Court TV Live. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson. Let's head back to Florida now, where it's day one of testimony in the murder trial for Dima Tower. The 24-year-old faces 2 counts of murder for the deaths of his adoptive parents, Jennifer and Robbie Tower. Police found the victims dead inside their home with several stab wounds. Prosecutors say that Dima Tower led police on a high-speed chase before fleeing on foot, where police eventually arrested him in the woods. Let's get you back into court now, where an officer is telling the jury about that high-speed chase.
Who was the person that showed up on the scene in addition to you?
Sergeant Johnson with the Northport Police Department.
Okay, what's Sergeant's first name?
Sergeant Patrick Johnson.
Okay. When you saw the defendant evade Sergeant Johnson, what was your next step?
I immediately got on the radio. At this time, asked permission to initiate a pursuit. Me and the vehicle was stopping in what I had observed, to which it was approved.
Okay. And what do you mean when you say initiate a pursuit?
So when you initiate a pursuit, you have to identify who you are on the radio, reason for the stop, weather conditions, speed, and vehicle maneuvering of the defendant's vehicle.
All right. And was that pursuit approved by your superiors?
Yes.
And did you continue on the pursuit with Sergeant Johnson?
That's correct.
Did anyone else become involved in that pursuit along with you and Sergeant Patrick Johnson?
Yes. Corporal Hart.
Okay. Let's now look at what's been pre-marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 3. Do you recognize this, officer?
Yes.
Would this map help you to explain to the members of the jury exactly what took place after you called out for a pursuit?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm offering State's Exhibit 3 into evidence, please.
No objection. State's Exhibit 3 will be admitted. You may publish it at your leisure.
Officer, there's a laser pointer up here. If you would use it while you're explaining. It's this little right there. And you're going to have to multitask. So I want you to not only look at the screen behind you, but also speak into the microphone. So you're going to have to swivel your head back and forth to somehow make sure that you're heard by the members of the jury. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Officer, I'm now showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 3, and I want you to first point out to the members of the jury the area in Northport where you first encountered the defendant on August 31st of 2023.
So the address of 1240 Malakote is going to be in this general area.
Okay, all right, so let's look at the Northport map, and can you point out? All right, so once the defendant started to flee from you and Sergeant Johnson and who was the other person?
Corporal Hart.
Corporal Hart. Can you show the members of the jury the earlier part of his flight?
The earlier part of the flight was in this general area, which proceeded northbound past Toledo Blade Elementary School. And the road that the laser pointer on now is East Price Boulevard.
And was that through residential neighborhoods?
That's correct.
Okay, and how was the defendant driving as he continued his flight through those residential neighborhoods?
In the beginning, his flight was slowed driving, not too aggressive, but that pattern changed once we got onto East Price Boulevard and the defendant began to speed and drive recklessly.
All right. Show us the continuation of his flight. Show us how he progressed as he drove away from you and the other two personnel from Northport.
So as the pursuit continued west on East Price Boulevard, we approached Toledo Blade. Once on Toledo Blade, the defendant made a right to go northbound as we traveled. In this general area where the pointer is, the defendant recklessly changed lanes and began traveling northbound in the southbound lanes in the opposite lane of travel. At this time, Commander Brownie was in a white unmarked police car coming southbound in the correct lane of travel. This time, the defendant almost struck Commander Brownie head on.
All right. And what happened after that incident when the defendant was going driving in the wrong lane? What did he do next?
So after the defendant was driving in the wrong lane of travel, he made a lane change to go back into the northbound lane and continue northbound on Toledo Blade.
Okay. After that incident there in Northport, did he take another main artery?
That's correct.
Where did he go?
So the defendant traveled north on Toledo Blade, ultimately entering the southbound lane at I-75 southbound.
All right. And in which direction did he go once he was in I-75?
Southbound in the southbound lanes.
Okay. Are you able to show us with your laser pointer, just in general, how far he continued into Charlotte County on I-75?
Yes, so the defendant traveled southbound, continuing southbound. So we got on the highway at exit 179. The defendant traveled all the way down to approximately this area, which is exit 170, Kings Highway in Charlotte County.
What did he do then?
The defendant exited I-75, made a left turn, and then made a second left turn, ultimately entering I-75 northbound at the same exit of 170.
At this point, were there still...
Hitting the pause button right there, but don't go anywhere. Coming up, the officer then tells the jury more about this high-speed chase with this defendant, including deploying what's called a spike strip to slow him down. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
A former porn actor caught in a deadly father-son love triangle.
I'm not going to stop fighting to prove my innocence.
The Love Triangle beheading trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Sunday nights on Court TV. Join us for a night of food, friends, and our favorite legal dramas. It's Order in the Court. And this week, we're binge watching Bull. Sundays on Court TV.
Let's head back to Sarasota, Florida now, where we have been watching day one of testimony in the adopted son murder trial. Defendant Dima Tower faces up to life behind bars if convicted for the murders of his adopted parents. Right there, Jennifer and Robert Tower. On the stand right now is an officer detailing the high-speed chase after the murders. Let's get you back into court.
At this point, were there still 3 police vehicles following the defendant, you, Sergeant Johnson, and the corporal?
That's correct.
Okay. So with your laser pointer, I want you to show the members of the jury what the defendant is doing now while Northport police cars are following him.
So the defendant enters northbound I-75, enters the center lane, and maintains a speed of approximately 80 miles an hour, driving in a straight, no evasive maneuvers, but still failing to yield for law enforcement.
Okay. And at this point, are your lights and sirens activated?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sure the members of the jury have heard police sirens before, but is the sound of a police siren loud enough to penetrate the cars that are near or surrounding the police car that are letting out their sirens?
Yes.
What about the lighting? When you say the lights are activated, describe the kind of lights that are used to draw the attention of people to pull them over and stop.
So police cars, they're equipped, Northport specifically, red and blue emergency lights, as well as white LEDs. So they're flashing very fast strobes. And like I said, they're LEDs, so they're very bright, and at nighttime, it illuminates the entire roadway.
Okay. And how far in front of Sergeant Johnson's car was he in the lead?
That's correct. Sergeant Johnson was the lead, and I was the second officer.
So how far was the defendant in front of Sergeant Johnson's car? And you can give us an estimate, of course.
Approximately 5 car lanes.
Okay, thank you. And this is with the lights and siren just going full blast?
That's correct.
All right, go ahead.
So as we continued northbound on I-75, now we're back in the jurisdiction of Northport. This time we start radioing to surrounding agencies, specifically Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Florida Highway Patrol.
Okay, why did you get Sarasota County Sheriff's Office involved?
At this time, we were passing all the exits to get back into Northport, and we were starting to approach and enter their jurisdiction.
Okay, so were you soon going to be crossing over into the jurisdiction of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office?
That's correct.
Okay, so once you involved those agencies to assist you, did you see their patrol vehicles as well?
Yes.
Okay. You can continue with your laser pointer, please.
So approximately where my laser pointer is now is the jurisdictional boundary from Northport, starting into Sarasota County. The pursuit continued, still in the center lanes, northbound.
Okay. And did Sarasota County Sheriff's Office assist in any way?
That's correct.
Can you tell the members of the jury exactly what they did?
So where my laser pointer is now is I-75 and North River Road. It was at that approximate location where the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office deployed spike strips on the defendant's vehicle.
Okay, tell the jury, what is a spike strip?
Spike strip is it's a device that you throw into the roadway and it punctures the tires to deflate them for a safe ending to a pursuit.
And did that spike strip stop the defendant?
That's correct.
What happened after the defendant's car was stopped?
So as we traveled through the intersection of River Road, still on I-75, the defendant's vehicle came to a slow stop on the right shoulder, just south of Jacaranda,
Okay.
approximately in this area.
All right. And were you able to see that entire procedure, officer?
Yes.
Okay. Once the defendant's car stopped, what's the very next thing that happened?
Northport police officers pulled behind the defendant, and at this time he exited the driver's side of the vehicle and began to run into the tree line.
Thank you. Officer, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 4. Will you look at that for me, please?
Yes.
Do you recognize it, sir?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury what it is?
It's a recording of my Dashcam video from my police car on that night.
And how do you recognize it?
Because I reviewed it on 11/3 as well as November 12th, 2025.
Is it a true and accurate depiction of your death?
Still with us, law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter. You know, where we are in the trial right now, it's the first couple witnesses, but already we're seeing consciousness of guilt.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, leaving the scene, evading law enforcement, and for a very long time, consciousness of guilt, and the fact that he did not want to be caught. He committed this murder, knew that he committed this murder, and did not want to turn himself in. He wanted to just go. It was heinous. His behavior was heinous. And after he committed the murder, everything that he did after that was also deadly. The evading of the police, the high-speed chase, the almost hitting another officer, all of these things, dangerous behavior. And this young man has a lot of problems, but long-term incarceration will hopefully set him on the right track without being able to get out for him to harm anyone else. Look at all the blood, Matt. That's just horrific.
Yeah, and just disregard for any human life, even after these brutal murders. But regardless if the defendant concedes or doesn't dispute some of the bad facts in this case, you know, kind of said that he did it, the state still must prove those charges for this jury.
Absolutely. And the defendant absolutely deserves the best possible defense. And I'm sure there are some people that are going to say, wait a minute, wasn't she just saying this? Absolutely. I said that he needs to be incarcerated, that we know he's guilty. He said he's guilty. He ran away. But every person deserves the best possible defense. He deserves to put that the state must prove every element of the crime that they have charged him with, because that is the way that our criminal justice system works. It is designed to work this way. It must continue to work this way because, well, without all the flaws, but he deserves to be defended to the best, to the highest.
Yeah, you know, and still under the cloak of innocent, presumed innocent. Sonny Slaughter, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Coming up, more testimony in the adopted son murder trial playing out there. Today is day one of this brutal case. We'll be right back. This is Court TV Live. Welcome back. I'm Matt Johnson in today for Ted Rowlands alongside Julia Janae. We are in the state of Florida this hour for the adopted son murder trial.
Yeah, this is one where Jennifer and Robbie Tower, they were adoptive parents of the defendant here, Dima Tower. When he was 14 years old is when he arrived from a Ukrainian orphanage.
But soon their adopted son would start to exhibit violent tendencies, and 7 years later, Jennifer and Robbie Tower would be found dead.
Yeah, really disturbing case where prosecutors say that he stabbed his parents multiple times in their home and then got away from the scene.
Let's get you back into court now, where we're hearing from an officer who engaged in the high-speed chase to apprehend this defendant.
Is it a true and accurate depiction of your dash cam footage on the night of August 31st into September 1st?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm offering State's Exhibit number 4 into evidence, please.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 4 will be admitted. You may publish it at your leisure.
Thank you. Can you please take a look at that? And actually, I think I turned the wrong one on. I think this should be. Ms. Whipple?
Maybe. Oh, there.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. All right. Sorry. So, what are we looking at here as this dash cam begins?
This is a video of me arriving on Malakote Road.
Are you now on Malakote Road?
That's correct.
And as we look at this, I'm going to pause that for a moment. Explain to the members of the jury what they're seeing here.
So as you were watching, you could see my high beams as well as my takedown lights that we spoke about earlier illuminated, which brightens up the roadway. And then there you see the defendant standing behind the vehicle and then approaching the driver's side door.
Okay, and I would like you to speak up nice and loudly into the microphone so that everyone can hear you.
Yes.
Okay? All right. So now, are you able to see the defendant clearly at this point? Obviously, you can only see him from the back, but are you able to see him clearly?
Correct.
Right. And were you able to recognize the color and the type of clothing that he was wearing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as he reached into his pockets for, it looks like but as he reached into his pocket and got into his car, where were you positioned?
In my driver's seat, and then I exited my vehicle.
In which direction is the defendant driving on Malakote?
West.
Tell the jury what's going on right now. Who is that in that large black vehicle?
That's Sergeant Patrick Johnson, and prior to that is the time when I was letting other officers know over the radio what I observed, and that the defendant was ignoring my commands and beginning to drive away.
All right, Matt, what we're seeing here, of course, is this chase. You know, we were discussing whether or not it's really a high-speed chase, because it seems like they are making sure they're being careful.
Yeah, but he gets up to 70 miles per hour. I mean, any one of these residents in this community could come out of their driveway. This is very loud. The prosecutors have already reminded the jury that this is a very loud pursuit through this neighborhood. So there's a lot of people at risk here.
Absolutely. And it just adds to the aggravating nature of this case. You already had this horrific killing of the two adoptive parents, but you also now have him not only getting away from police, but causing potential for other people to be harmed in the process.
Yeah, disregard of human life after the alleged murders at his hands, and really going to what the prosecutors are also trying to prove here in consciousness of guilt, trying to get away from the crime.
So as we're watching this along, and of course no audio, but these jurors are seeing everything that's happening and being told by the officer on the stand what it sounded like. Let's bring in our guest to talk about this, as well as we're watching from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, criminal defense attorney and former district attorney Matthew Mangino. Matthew, what are your thoughts when you see officers when they're placed in this situation where you have to try and go after a suspect, but you're also in an even more dangerous situation?
Well, yes, Julia, this is, you know, the worst of all circumstances. So you have someone who you believe may be responsible for murder, and you're in a high-speed chase through a neighborhood. It's not as though you can say, hey, I'm just going to pull off and let this guy go, because he's dangerous, and you know that he's dangerous, but he's also creating another danger in this environment by driving and evading the police and putting other innocent people at risk. So for police, it's the worst of all situations. It's not as though this is a traffic violation and, well, we'll just pull off and we have a plate number and we'll follow up on this. No, you're apprehending a suspect who may be involved in a murder, and you just can't turn away, but you know you're putting people at risk.
Yeah,
Speed picking up there.
It's
Just
picking
wanna
up
let
right
our
there. And again,
viewers
this
know
is a
that.
reminder that, this is completely silent in that courtroom right now in Sarasota, Florida. This is being played. This is a look there at what the jury is looking at. But, it makes me think, when you're putting your case together, Matthew, what is the importance of showing the entire chase police video to the jury?
Well, I think you want to impact this jury by showing just how reckless, how dangerous this defendant is. I mean, it's one thing to say to get up and say, well, the police, chased him for a period of time and ultimately pulled him over. It's another thing to put those jurors in the police car and just showing them how dangerous this situation is, how other people were at risk, and how callous the defendant was in driving in this manner with the police pursuing him. So you're really putting the jurors in the shoes of the police, of the investigators, which you can't always do in a criminal prosecution.
All right, Matthew, we do have to hit the pause button there as that jury is watching that video with no audio. We're going to fit in a break right now. Coming up, we're going to talk more about this high-speed chase and what officers were doing, non-lethal methods to get him to slow down, including deploying a spike strip to make him stop. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
Mama tried. Now my daddy's crying because I'm in here.
You are the common denominator that led to JD and Big Doug shooting each other in the dark of night.
All right, help party, I'm dying.
Don't you have the blood of both these men on your hands?
I felt guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Let's get you inside of this Florida courtroom where a 24-year-old is on trial for allegedly killing his adoptive parents.
Yeah, prosecutors say Dima Tower fatally stabbed his parents, Jennifer and Robbie Tower, back in August 2023.
Now, the couple adopted Dima when he was 14 years old from a Ukrainian foster care system, but they soon began living in fear, with Robbie telling police that he would lock his door at night to keep Dima out.
Today is day one of testimony. Let's get you back into that court where we've been watching dramatic Dashcam video of the officers chasing this defendant after he fled the scene.
All right, what's going on now?
As we spoke about earlier, the tire deflation device that the sheriff's office used struck the defendant's tires, causing him to pull over to the side of the road.
All right, so now with your laser pointer, if you would just point out the defendant's car and Sergeant Johnson's car. And obviously we can see what looks like a dashboard. Can you show us your car?
That's correct, and that's my front bumper.
Okay. So now I want you to keep your eye on the area between the defendant's car and to the right of the defendant's car. And I'm going to turn this back on. What did we just see?
That was the defendant running into the tree line.
So the defendant got out of his car and ran into the tree line?
Correct.
Were you able to see him with your own eyes?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he do when he ran into the tree line?
He jumped over a fence, which opened up into a large field with a warehouse.
Okay. Thank you. Now, you told us that you were in communication with your fellow detectives and fellow officers back at the crime scene on 1240 Malacote Road. I want you to tell the members of the jury, before we talk about your communications with fellow officers, what took place after the defendant abandoned his car and jumped over the fence?
Law enforcement agencies, Northport, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, and Florida troopers began to set up a perimeter in that general area and then we waited for K-9 officers to arrive.
All right. At this point, had you heard about the fatalities on 1240 Malakote Road?
That's correct.
And did you also get other details about the circumstances surrounding the deaths of Robbie and Jennifer Tower?
Yes.
Okay. Did there come a time when K-9 officers from Sarasota County and Northport arrived on scene?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us a ballpark idea of when that was?
Approximately 15 minutes after the defendant ran into the tree line.
Okay. And did you join the foot pursuit along with the K-9 officers?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us what you did with those officers?
Once we entered over the fence that the defendant was last seen, there was a large warehouse containing tractor trailers. It was completely dark out there, no lighting. So we had to conduct a thorough search of that warehouse before we can move forward.
Okay. And did you find any sign of the defendant there?
No.
Okay. All right. And the terrain, what was that like?
Very rough, tall grass, wet, small canals containing alligators that you could hear them.
All right. Okay. Did there come a time when you discontinued the K-9 search?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have further steps in this investigation, officer?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what you did.
I returned back to my vehicle after the K-9 search and drove back to 1240 Malakote Road to show detectives my dash cam video from my vehicle.
Okay. Who was the lead detective in the case?
Detective Eric St. Jean.
Did he review the dash cam video that the jury has just seen now?
Yes.
Including the early portions where the defendant is getting into his car?
That's correct.
Did you do anything else aside from reviewing your dash cam and body cam with Eric St. Jean in this case?
No, that's where my investigation concluded.
Okay. Have a moment, please.
You may.
Thank you, officer. I have nothing further for you at this time.
Defense?
Morning, officer. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. You said that the high-speed pursuit didn't begin until outside of the residential district, correct?
Not correct.
Okay, you said that he didn't begin to accelerate until he left the residential area, I believe that was your testimony, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And the residential neighborhood off Malakote, would you consider Price a residential neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. So Price and Toledo Blade has a Wawa at the corner, right?
Correct.
And at the time they were building the Northport Behavioral Health Unit?
I believe so.
Okay.
Behind the Wawa.
That's not a residential facility, right? It's not like apartment complexes?
No.
In fact, the only area is on, if you're heading southbound down Price, on the right-hand side is where most of the houses are, correct?
Incorrect.
If you take Toledo Blade and the direction opposite that we were just shown there, because if you're going up Toledo Blade, going up Price, you take that right on Toledo Blade, correct?
Correct.
That's where that Wawa is, right?
Correct.
And the other side is woods, correct?
Correct.
All right. And the side of the street that's woods, if you go down farther in Price, they're actually building some apartments now, right?
They've been completed for a couple years now.
Okay. But you're considering that a residential neighborhood?
Correct.
And that's Price, you would agree with me, is a main thoroughfare through Northport, correct?
Correct, with houses on
either side
as well. Correct.
Right. And it gets more residential the further you get past Toledo Blade, correct? So you go past the Walgreens there and the Commons where the Publix is, right?
Correct. It turns into a residential.
And then further past Toledo Blade is more residential, correct?
Correct.
All right. But Toledo Blade has gas stations, right?
Correct. I would consider it industrial with warehouses as well.
And the warehouses are out down towards 75, correct?
Correct.
All right. You said that there was one portion there that you believe, I think that you may mention that Mr. Tower was attempting to strike the sergeant, correct, with his vehicle?
Well, it's unknown. There was two conclusions that I announced.
Sure. You could see from that vantage point the sergeant was attempting to go in front of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
All right. And that would be something that you are trained to do as law enforcement, right? To use your vehicle to stop other vehicles.
Correct.
Okay. And that was unsuccessful, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then when you would agree with me that there is not an exit between 179 Toledo Blade and 170 Kings Highway, correct?
Correct.
On 75. And there is also not an exit between 182 on Sumter and 191 of River Road.
Correct.
Okay. So in those two areas, would it be fair to say that 80 miles an hour is a standard speed?
I don't know how to answer that with the speed limit being 70 miles per hour.
I understand the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. Have you done traffic controls in that area previously?
Correct.
And you travel that way normally, right?
Correct.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that 80 miles an hour is pretty standard from your travels in that area?
Yes.
Okay. And at no point in time did you ever come into contact and have discussions with Mr. Tower, correct?
Correct.
All right.
I attempted contact but was ignored.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Based on your background and experience, officer, is it always dangerous when a car is fleeing from police?
Yes.
How so?
You don't know what their motive is to get away, or the reason for them to flee.
Right. Is there always potential for all kinds of mayhem,
Yes.
including deaths,
That's correct.
broken bones,
Correct.
multiple cars piling up,
Correct.
people dying on the roadside?
Correct.
Relevance?
Sustained is the last question.
Does that include innocent people being harmed when a flight is going on?
Yes.
Okay. So whether the defendant was going 40 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour, was he still fleeing from police
That's correct.
for over a half an hour?
Yes.
Nothing further, thank you.
Is the witness free to step down, counselors?
Yes.
No objection, Judge.
All right, you may step down, sir.